The craziest part about Shane van Gisbergen heading into Watkins Glen isn't just that he's fast, it's that NASCAR drivers are starting to realize they may not actually have an answer for him on road courses anymore. Because this isn't some random underdog story now, this isn't a one-race surprise, and this definitely isn't a driver getting lucky. SVG has already proven he can beat NASCAR's best. He's done it before. And now, he's heading to one of the most technical tracks on the entire schedule. A place where braking matters. A place where precision matters. A place where one mistake destroys your race. And somehow, that's exactly the kind of track where Shane van Gisbergen looks the most dangerous. So while most drivers are preparing for another difficult weekend at Watkins Glen, there's one question everyone inside NASCAR is quietly asking right now. What happens if SVG completely dominates this race? And to understand why so many people believe that could actually happen, you need to look at what's been building over the past few months. If you love fast NASCAR updates, race breakdowns, and the biggest drama happening in the sport right now, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News as we push toward 1,000 subscribers. Because what Shane van Gisbergen is doing right now might completely change how NASCAR views road course racing moving forward. When SVG first arrived in NASCAR, a lot of people didn't know what to expect. Yes, hardcore racing fans knew about his success in supercars. They knew he was one of the best road racers in the world. But NASCAR is different. Heavy cars, different tires, different racing style, completely different racecraft. And usually when international drivers come into NASCAR, they need time to adapt. SVG didn't. Instead, he shocked everyone almost immediately. The moment he started competing on road courses, you could see the difference. His braking zones looked different. His corner exits looked cleaner. And while other drivers were fighting the car, SVG looked completely calm. That's what made people inside the garage start paying attention. Because drivers know when somebody has real speed, and they especially know when somebody is comfortable in places where everyone else struggles. Now heading into Watkins Glen, that feeling is getting even stronger. According to recent betting odds, SVG is already considered one of the favorites for the race. Not just a contender, a legitimate favorite over full-time NASCAR stars who have spent years racing this track. And honestly, it makes sense. Watkins Glen fits his driving style perfectly. Fast corners, heavy braking zones, technical sections that punish mistakes. That's where SVG becomes dangerous. And what's scary for the rest of the field is that he doesn't seem nervous about it at all. In recent interviews leading up to the weekend, SVG sounded relaxed, confident, almost excited by the challenge. While other drivers talk about surviving Watkins Glen, SVG talks about racing there like it's exactly where he wants to be. That confidence is starting to get attention everywhere. Because NASCAR drivers understand what happens when a driver enters a race feeling completely comfortable, especially someone with elite road racing instincts. And the reactions from fans have been massive too. A lot of NASCAR fans originally thought SVG would only be competitive occasionally. But now, more and more people are starting to believe he could become the standard for road course racing in NASCAR. That's a huge shift, especially considering how many talented drivers are already in the Cup Series. You've got experienced veterans, championship contenders, road course specialists, and yet somehow Shane van Gisbergen is still the guy everyone keeps talking about heading into Watkins Glen. Part of that comes from what he's already accomplished. People still remember the races where he completely stunned the field with his pace, not just because he won, but because of how controlled he looked while doing it. No panic, no overdriving, just pure precision. And that's the part many NASCAR drivers know is hard to beat. Because aggressive driving only works for so long on road courses. Eventually, the track punishes mistakes. SVG rarely makes those mistakes. That's why this weekend feels different. Normally before big races, the conversation centers around multiple drivers. But this time, so much of the attention is focused on one person. Can anybody actually stop Shane van Gisbergen at Watkins Glen? Even some insiders around the sport are beginning to admit that if SVG qualifies near the front, things could get ugly for the rest of the field very quickly. Because passing a driver like him on a technical road course is incredibly difficult. And if he controls the race pace early, everyone behind him may end up fighting for second place. What also makes this story bigger is what it means for NASCAR overall. For years, road course racing in NASCAR has evolved. Drivers have become more skilled, teams have improved setups, but SVG's arrival raised the standard again. Suddenly, NASCAR drivers are being compared to one of the best international road racers in the world. And that pressure is real. You can even see it in how competitors talk about him now. At first there was curiosity, now there's respect. Because once drivers experience racing against someone with elite road racing instincts, they understand how difficult that challenge becomes. And Watkins Glen might be the perfect example of that. This isn't a track where raw horsepower alone wins the race. Drivers need rhythm, patience, precision. That's exactly where SVG shines. What's even more interesting is that Shane himself seems fully aware of the growing expectations. But instead of backing away from the hype, he's leaning into it. In interviews this week, he talked about wanting awesome racing and sounded genuinely excited for the challenge ahead. That mentality matters, because pressure destroys some drivers. Others become even stronger because of it. Right now, SVG looks like the second type. And honestly, that's probably what worries the competition the most. Because if a driver has elite talent and confidence at the same time, that combination becomes extremely dangerous, especially at Watkins Glen. Now, of course, NASCAR races are unpredictable. One caution changes everything. One pit strategy mistake ruins an entire day. One small issue can end a dominant run instantly. So nothing is guaranteed. But there's a reason the entire NASCAR world keeps talking about Shane van Gisbergen right now. It's because every time he enters a road course race, it feels like something special could happen. And if he dominates Watkins Glen the way some people expect, the conversation around SVG may completely change after this weekend. At that point, he wouldn't just be viewed as a talented international driver anymore. He'd become something much bigger. A legitimate NASCAR threat capable of beating the sport's biggest stars whenever the series heads to a road course. And honestly, we may already be there. Because when sportsbooks, fans, analysts, and even drivers all start expecting the same thing, usually there's a reason. Right now, that reason is Shane van Gisbergen. So as the field prepares for one of the most important road course races of the season, all eyes are on SVG. Can he back up the hype again? Can anyone actually challenge him? Or are we about to watch another race where Shane van Gisbergen completely takes over? One thing is certain. If SVG wins Watkins Glen in dominant fashion, NASCAR's biggest road course stars may officially have a serious problem on their hands.